Have you ever looked at the sunrise or sunset and thought, "Whoa, why does the sun look so huge?" Don't worry, you're not seeing things. There's real science behind it. Let's dive into why the sun can look giant and fiery red, even though it's actually the same size all day long. Have you ever looked at the sun during sunrise or sunset and thought, "Whoa, why is it so huge?" You're not alone. A lot of people feel like the sun looks massive when it's near the horizon. But weirdly enough, if you check it with a camera or measuring tools, it's actually the same size as it is at noon. So, why does our brain get tricked like that? In this episode, we're going to break down why that fiery ball in the sky looks freakishly big sometimes. First of all, let's clear this up. The sun isn't actually getting bigger. Its size stays the same whether it's morning, noon, or evening. But our brain has its own way of adjusting perception. This trick is called the horizon illusion. It's a purely visual deception happening in our heads. It's kind of like seeing a coin at the bottom of a pool. It looks bigger and closer, but it's not. Our brains are natural-born hallucination machines. One major reason the sun looks larger near the horizon is because we're seeing it in context. Imagine this: the sun rising behind trees, mountains, or buildings. Your brain starts comparing the sun's size to nearby objects. The result? The sun looks bigger because you've got reference points. But during midday, it's just floating alone in the blue sky with nothing to compare it to. So it seems smaller. There's also a theory that links this effect to something called the Ponzo illusion. It's when your brain misjudges the size of something based on background and perspective. Picture two horizontal lines that are the same length, but one is surrounded by slanted lines like train tracks. That one looks longer, even though it's not. That's exactly what happens with the sun. Your brain is tricked by the scenery and perspective. But hold on, it's not just your brain playing tricks. The atmosphere plays a role too. When the sun is near the horizon, its light has to pass through more layers of air. That scatters the sunlight more, making it look redder and slightly distorted. It's not that the sun's actually bigger, but the scattered light blurs its edges. That makes it harder for your brain to figure out its real size. Funny thing is, some people think this happens because of optical magnification, like what a camera lens does. But nope, that's not it. There's no magnifying glass effect from the air. The sun doesn't grow because of the atmosphere. What does grow is your perception. Astronomers use precise tools to measure the sun's diameter all day long, and guess what? It stays the same. So if the sun looks like a big balloon near the edge of the sky, it's all in your head. There's a fun little experiment to test this. Next time you see a sunrise or sunset, try looking at the sun through a paper tube, or even squint one eye, and use your fingers to measure its size. Compare how big it looks on the horizon versus higher in the sky. The result? Same size. It's proof that it's your brain, not the sun, that's doing the size shifting. Pretty wild, huh? Interestingly, not everyone experiences this illusion. If you're in a wide open space, like the ocean, with no trees or buildings, you might not feel like the sun looks bigger. Why? Because there are no reference objects. Your brain doesn't know what to compare it to, and the illusion fades. So, visual context plays a huge role in shaping how we perceive the world around us. Now that you know these facts, you can appreciate how nature sometimes lies to us. But even if it's just an illusion, that giant-looking sun at dawn or dusk is still breathtaking, right? This illusion is part of what makes people run to grab their cameras. The sun may not actually grow in size, but our sense of wonder sure does. It's proof that our minds have the power to create their own beauty. But wait, there's still one mystery we haven't solved yet. Why does the sun also look redder during sunrise and sunset? And what about when it looks squished or oval-shaped? Is that another illusion, or is there a different atmospheric effect involved? Next time, we'll dive into more sky secrets and reveal why the sun loves being dramatic every morning and evening. Ready to keep going? Let's jump into the next part. Okay, so we've figured out that the sun only looks bigger at sunrise and sunset. It's just an illusion. But here's the next question. Why does it glow bright red like it's been deep fried? Sometimes it even looks squished, stretched, or like it has a shadow around it. Is that another brain trick, or is the atmosphere doing something sneaky again? Let's break down these equally magical sky phenomena one by one. First, let's talk about that reddish color. When the sun is low on the horizon, its light has to travel through more layers of the atmosphere than at midday, and the atmosphere is packed with dust, water droplets, smoke, and gases. Blue and violet light scatter more easily, while red light is tougher and keeps going. So, what reaches your eyes is mostly the red tones, while the others have scattered away. Boom! That's your fiery red sun. This phenomenon is called Rayleigh scattering. Light with shorter wavelengths, like blue, gets kicked around more by air molecules, but longer wavelengths, like red, pass through more easily. That's why the sky looks blue during the day, but when the sun is low, the blue gets scattered away, and what's left are reds, oranges, and yellows. It's romantic, but totally scientific. Now let's talk about the sun's weird shapes, squished or stretched. This has a cool explanation too. When the sun is close to the horizon, it passes through denser air layers. These layers bend, or refract, the sunlight. But the bending isn't even. The bottom of the sun is bent more than the top. The result? The sun looks flattened, stretched sideways, or squashed from above. This effect is called refraction flattening. Sometimes you might even see what looks like a shadow or a second sun above or below the real one. Don't worry, it's not aliens or a sky glitch. That's a phenomenon called a mirage. When air layers have different temperatures, light bends in weird ways, creating optical illusions like reflections or duplicates. The mirage might look like a thin line, a shadowy sun, or even a fake sun floating above the real one. If you're on a mountaintop or out at sea, these effects can look even more dramatic. Why? Because you've got a much wider view and can see more of the atmosphere that the sunlight passes through. Over the ocean, for example, the sun can look like a giant red ball slowly sinking, then suddenly disappearing. That's because light refraction changes every second, depending on air temperature and moisture around you. Interestingly, none of these illusions happen on the moon or planets with thin atmospheres. On the moon, for example, sunrise is just instant. The sun pops up like someone flipped a light switch. No red glow, no squished shape, no atmospheric drama. So, all these beautiful sunrises and sunsets on Earth are gifts from our atmosphere. Without it, there'd be no red hues, no giant sun, no weird shapes, just plain light. Illusions or not, our skies are colorful thanks to it. Here's another cool fact. Old-time sailors used sunrise and sunset colors to predict the weather. If the evening sky was red, it meant clear skies the next day. But if the morning sky was red, it could mean a storm was coming. It's summed up in the old saying, "Red sky at night, sailor's delight. Red sky in the morning, sailor take warning." Not a perfect forecast, but surprisingly useful back when there were no weather radars. So every time you see a giant, glowing red sun on the horizon with a strange shape, remember, it's all thanks to a combo of light, atmosphere, and your brain. From horizon illusion to atmospheric refraction to Rayleigh scattering, they all work together to give us a free daily light show. The sun itself stays the same, but the way we see it keeps changing. And that's what makes nature feel magical, yet still rooted in science. Now you know why the sun looks big and red at sunrise and sunset. It's not the sun that's changing, it's your eyes and brain getting tricked. Nature loves playing with our perception, and that's part of its beauty. So next time you catch a sunset, just enjoy the drama, because behind every stunning view, there's some seriously awesome science at work. Now you know, all that sun drama is just teamwork between your brain, light, and the atmosphere. Even if it's just an illusion, it's still incredibly beautiful. Nature's full of tricks, and that's exactly what keeps us amazed. See you in the next episode of Fun Science Facts. If this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss other exciting videos. Likes and comments will also help this channel grow even more. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.